Hey there, it's Pocket, and I'm here to talk about Star Wars going free to play. Some changes in DayZ make some new players a little upset, and Tomb Raider gets a reboot. So there's been quite a bit of commotion about Star Wars embracing the free-to-play model, and a lot of articles have been covering this. And a lot of articles sort of pander to the fact that it sounds like they're going to go free-to-play, when I didn't get that impression at all from articles that actually had all the information and not just little segments of a sentence. Now, I definitely felt like they were going to be embracing the free model in a sense that they were going to have free trials and they were going to make the game more accessible to people who don't want to shell out $50 plus $15 sub per month just to play the game and realize that they don't like it. It's like, oh, I played the game to level 10, I don't like it. I kind of wish I could get my money back. I wish you could do that going to the movies. It costs, what, $20 to go to the movies with someone for 2 hours of entertainment, and it costs $15 to get entertained for a month from a video game. But if you don't like it, you don't like it at the same time, you know? So you can't get your money back. And so it will make it more accessible to people who want to try it but don't want to shell out the money because maybe they don't have that money to waste. But at the same time, back to these articles, I don't really get the hint. I don't know why they think that Star Wars is going free to play. It's not going free to play, in my opinion. They have 1.3 million subs, and if they go free to play now, they're going to be losing a lot of money off of subs. I mean, they're getting a lot of money off of subs already. I can understand why they put out character transfers, name changes, aesthetics, cool mounts, and stuff. Maybe embracing sort of the WoW model, and not necessarily embracing the free-to-play model. Free-to-play doesn't always mean it's a good thing. Going free-to-play, maybe in the future they do that, in the far future, but in the near future, I wouldn't count on it. I wouldn't count on it. So there have been some changes recently to DayZ, and these changes aren't exactly new, and the announcement's actually a couple weeks old, but at the same time I'm going to cover it because one, I am a newbie to DayZ, and two, this affects a lot of people, whether you're new or not. And the changes are, whenever you spawn in as a noob, or whenever you die and respawn in, you don't have weapons. You don't have a gun, I should say. So you don't have a gun. And at one enemy thinks, oh, this makes it harder, so that's cool that it makes it really hard and you have to go and find a weapon. But the other part of me says, a lot of noobs spawn along the coastline, and what's stopping that jerk player who has a gun from going along the coastline and shooting a bunch of newbie players? Now, one argument is that makes you have to create more friendships with other players, and that might be true, but there's nothing stopping another player from trying to kill you over an item that you see in the future, from weapons and stuff. There's nothing stopping them from screwing you over later, and so being trustworthy and trusting others in DayZ doesn't really work out either way. Another argument is it does make it harder, and I agree, it does make it harder. But the last argument is it makes it more realistic, and maybe it's just me, but I'm not really looking for realism in a zombie game. Not to that extent, not when it's a change like that. Now, there's a lot of elements in DayZ that are realistic compared to other games, and that's certainly cool, like the no map and just a whole bunch of other stuff. Like you can actually die to one bullet. That's realistic to me. And I don't agree with nerfing newbies to create a more realistic environment. I certainly don't think that's why they did it, but at the same time, maybe they should have just nerfed the weapon itself, or if perhaps they had prevented other bandits from getting into the newbie area, so that way they have sort of like a chance to at least spread their wings and fly for 5 minutes before getting shot down by a bandit with a gun. I don't know. There's nothing stopping people in video games and on the internet from being jerks. As much as I would love for there to be one button that you could press and be like, stop being a jerk. It's like, there's not. You can't stop everybody from playing a game the way that it's developed, the way it's designed. So I don't really like the change. I could see how some people do, but at the same time, I think they should have just nerfed the ammo or something. Now, I know that Tomb Raider isn't exactly an MMO. In fact, it's not an MMO, but it is gaming. And since E3, it's been in the news a lot. In news articles, people writing about it, people blogging about it. And there are people who agree with the changes to the reboot and people who don't. And it's mainly over the sexual assault that happens in the game. Now, the first issue I sort of took, and I read many articles about this and read many comments on the articles, and the whole beat her while she's down kind of was a turnoff in itself to me, because it's like, oh, she's this weak and normal human, and just when you think she's gonna overcome all the bad things, we're gonna kick her down again. Oh, and here she comes, she's rising up, kick her down again. Oh, she's down, kick her some more. It's like just this whole thing just kind of doesn't sit right with me, of beating her while she's down. Sure, it makes you feel sorry for her because she looks pathetic. But at the same time, this leads into having to protect her. Like, they actually said, you'll feel like you have to protect her. Like, we're some sort of guardian angel with a controller trying to save her life constantly. And I don't know if I necessarily like this as well, because, well, I'm a female and I want to play someone who, even if she isn't Tomb Raider yet, she's building up to that, I want her to still just be sort of a badass. Just like, you know, call the cops. I don't give a... And, you know, just that whole idea of, I don't care. You know, yeah, sure, I went through some bad things right there, but guess what? I kept looking forward and got my butt into gear and started running. And this leads into making her more realistic. They want to make her more human. Well, first of all, would a human survive a plane crash? I don't know. It's like 1 in a billion. If a human survives a plane crash, they make a TV series about it called Lost. Anyway, would a human survive getting impaled by something through the stomach? Probably not. I mean, it's more likely than a plane crash, but at the same time, realistically speaking, she'd be losing a ton of blood and would need medical attention, or she would have punctured a major internal organ and died. It's like, so there's already your realistic aspects gone out the window. So adding a sexual assault / rape to a video game doesn't make it more realistic and more accessible and make me feel sorry for her more. And that's another thing they want you to do. They want you to feel sorry for her. And I feel rape is sort of like a scapegoat for having a lack of a plot, a lack of a theme. It's like, well, we can't really think of something to make her strong, so here she's getting assaulted and you have to save her. And if you don't succeed, well, you're just gonna have a bad time. And it's like, I don't really agree with adding sexual assault. I don't feel like it's needed. I feel like you can make a strong character without adding something that a lot of people, especially a lot of women, have been horrified by. And let's just move into the topic of a lot of women like Lara Croft. She might have been over-sexualized in her past, but she was a badass. And a lot of women, when they looked at her, they saw a badass. Who didn't watch Tomb Raider with Angelina Jolie and go, dang, she's kicking some ass, man. And yeah, she's attractive while she does it, but who cares? She's killing everything. Zombies and giant rock thingies, it's like, it's amazing. And so I feel like they're going about it all wrong. I feel like you can make a strong character without adding like the extreme of the extremes that are only thrown in when you have a lack of character. And they also don't stand by their story. So they release a ton of photos. They release trailers of a guy feeling up Lara Croft and all that. And then they go, oh, by the way, there's no sexual assault. And so they're changing their whole story around. It's like, make up my mind already. I can understand why they'd probably want to take it out now, because there's been an uproar about it. But at the same time, if you're going to do it and you do it right, then stand by your story. But if you're doing it wrong, then maybe you should take it out.